Hey everyone, we had a great question on our FAQ page this morning, FAQs, the facts page. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to throw them on our facts page. So the question was from someone starting up a brand new business, and they wanted to know, what are the major differences between setting up an Inc., an actual corporation, and an LLC? Now, LLCs came in probably about 30, 40 years ago versus Incs that have been around for well over 200 years. LLCs are definitely a lot more flexible and they're a lot harder to break. Let's put it that way, okay? And what I mean by that is with a corporation, if you are not following the proper rules, right, with an actual Inc., the proper rules like minutes, meetings, board of directors, annual reports, there's quite a few things that have to happen with an Inc. If you're not following those rules to the T, you can actually kill your Inc. intentionally or unintentionally, depending on what you're trying to do. So LLCs have become the choice for many, many business owners. And in specific cases, LLCs can be much easier. They're much more flexible. You can change an LLC and how it's taxed. An Inc. can only be taxed as a C Corp or an S Corp, okay? But an LLC can be taxed as a sole proprietorship, taxed as a partnership, taxed as an S Corp, taxed as a C Corp, right? So LLCs are super, super flexible. Now, one of the other things that I love about LLCs is often they're super cheap to set up from the standpoint of setting up an entire company from the legal perspective. Incs can often cost somewhere between $1,000 to $5,000, depending on how complicated, what forms you need, what it is you're trying to do, writing operating agreements, okay? Versus an LLC in many states, if you do it yourself, you can get the price of setting up an LLC down to $45, okay? So, I mean, it's a huge difference in the cost. Now, one of the things that I will caution you against is please don't pick an LLC just based on a video that you saw on the internet, okay? Or my friend said that an LLC is the way to go. You definitely want to talk to a professional. Each instance of what you're trying to do has reasons as to why, technical reasons as to why you would choose an LLC versus why you would choose an Inc. Okay. Some of them, for example, LLCs, easy to use, cheap, super flexible, but in some cases an Inc., an actual Inc., so a C Corp or S Corp that is an Inc. as an entity formation, can actually give you some massive tax-free income. For example, if you're going to sell the business 5 years plus down the road, okay? So you definitely want to work with a professional when you're trying to decide which entity should I do. Now, you don't necessarily need a professional to set up the entity, okay? So there's that, who sets up the entity ranges all the way across the board. You can do it yourself. There are legal document companies like LegalZoom. There are, of course, CPAs. We set up entities. And of course, you have attorneys. So there's a huge range of people that can help you form an entity. But my one piece of advice is before you make the choice between an LLC or an Inc. or no entity at all, for that matter, when starting your business, talk to a professional, get some advice. Remember that you get what you pay for, okay? So if you're gonna do it on your own, that's totally fine. Just be prepared to do a little, maybe a lot more legwork to make sure that you've got the right thing for what it is you're trying to do, especially if you're trying to build a business. It's always a good idea to have a really strong foundation and build it right in the beginning so that you're not a year later trying to go back and fix problems and potentially having to set up an entirely different company formation. So always a good idea to talk to the professionals. So if you have a CPA, talk with your CPA. If you have an attorney, talk with your attorney. If you don't have any of the above, if you don't have a tax strategist, reach out to us, taxgoddess.com. We would love to help you. These are the types of things that we do for people. So absolutely love to help you and make sure that your new business and your new venture is on the right path. So hope y'all are having a great day and we'll talk to you later. All right, great question. Thanks so much for submitting your question on the FAQs page. That's taxgoddess.com/facts. We'd love to answer your question next. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.